when's the time in your career where you had to create from within or had to be innovative in your settings?
I have a couple of examples. One, creating from within led to my current portfolio because I started out in a position where I oversaw one of the offices that I have now. I built out our career strategy and professional development portfolio, expanded it. And so that was our career service model for our graduate students and postdocs. I then started to look at some of the institutional priorities and goals that the institution had for our overall division. And we needed to expand capacity in order to develop more training programs, support our students. And so that involved a skill set that I didn't have, and that was grant writing and proposal development. And so what did I do? Of course, I'm just like, I'm going to write this grant because I was trained as an academic. I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And so I hadn't written a lot of grants back in my academic days. So that was one skill that I actually wanted to dive more into. And so I wrote a grant. Of course, it did not get funded. It wasn't even close. But, what you learn from resiliency is, you don't throw the unfunded proposal away and say, I'm never going to do this again. You're like, all right, reviewers gave us really tangible, actionable feedback. What did they say that could improve this program? And so we've put in more and more grants. I did finally get one grant funded, and that's going to segue into your second question about innovation. And that ties to the master's degree that I recently completed last summer. And so that was in design, management, and communications. And so for one of my courses, design leadership, I actually put together for our course project a proposal for a new program according to a design thinking framework. I did a lot of research using the design thinking iterative design framework on how to solve a potential wicked design problem, as they call it, for teaching transferable skills to PhD students and postdocs in a way that they could learn skills that they need in industry now that they could then take with them when they go to broader careers. And so coming together with a proposal design to target that problem was the basis of my course project. And it fit very well with the request for applications for a grant mechanism from Burroughs Wellcome Fund, the foundation ultimately by which I applied for this to build out this idea, and it got funded. And so that was where innovation and entrepreneurship sort of collided for me.
It's a wonderful example. And, even on another level, if you think about it, Socrates, has that expression, I always get it wrong, but, necessity is the mother of invention. And so you saw, and you're a scientist yourself, you saw that if we don't have business skills, if we can't bring in funds to fund the research we want to do, no matter how good it is, we can't do this. So learning grant writing skills yourself, and then also teaching business skills or world skills as we need it to the scientific community. How perfect an example of meeting the need with innovation and learning from failure as we go. Great example, Caleb. I love it.
Exactly. Very well summarized. Thank you.
Listening, one of those skills as a recruiter, got to have it. So I'm trying to think about staying relevant for me as a recruiter. 25 years, for the first time, I'm having to realize, the millennials, it's not just the millennials, there's another generation after them. So I'm, in the, what's that, Generation Jones or something weird they created. But anyway, I was starting to feel a little bit, not behind the times, but I was lacking, I was stagnant. And I had to look around and see what people were learning. And whenever I had a problem, I would call my kids because, my generation, you picked up the phone and you reached out to a human being, your lifeline, right? And my kids would say, oh, Mom, just Google it. And, I was like, but I realized I fixed the toilet, Googling it, I fixed things. And I was like, oh, there's something to this. But then I also realized that the human touch isn't going to go away. Vinyl records still exist, even though we're streaming music, right? So my kids were right about Googling it, but I'm also right about that human touch.